Well, good morning as we're sitting here. Um, Friday morning, December 8th, year 2023, here with the Hello, Hello show. And my name is Haim Mizrahi, continuing with the tradition of public access and the tradition of the Hello, Hello show that's been on the air since 1980. Of course, not to fail to mention the contribution by Fraser Dougherty. It happens to be one of the major figures that is responsible for this wonderful reality as we are enjoying now LTV in Wainscott at the east end of Long Island. And of course, not to fail to mention Francis Ann with their incredible support. Um, of course, all of you out there that contribute to the fact that this concept of public access is remaining and thriving and being enhanced and fortified by the attitude of people, residents, members of the community, and then of course without even noticing, this concept is coming to life every day, all over again, every day, all day long, all week long, and we're on the air all the time. So, and this is the voice of the people, even though I don't want to sound too cliche saying the voice of the people is the voice by the people. Um and the results of desires of people to put forth their feelings, their reservations, their desire for creativity, and their uh, knowledge and belief in the fact that public access is crucial and essential ingredient that is responsible for the main, maintaining the stability and the balance upon which we function as people, as communities, as a society, as a concept, and as a thread of energy, spiritual thread of energy, and so much more that makes a society, that makes a place with people on that place, with a concept in place, with a desire and with willingness and level of coherence and intelligence and emotions and just all these desires mixed up and coming to life by a controlled thread of one person displaying a desire to engage and to give his or her time or their time, and the results are evident and obvious. And if you're just watching us for the first time, this channel is operational 24/7, so you can make it your habit to check in now and then and see what's what. And of course, you can also visit the station that we have here in Wainscott, New York. And the rest is history. So, as I said, December 8th, year 2023, on Friday morning, here with the Hello Show. My name is Haim Mizrahi. Yesterday, I had a wonderful session with Steve Rom. It was all the things that we planned to talk about that we ended up not talking about, which was fantastic. And then, of course, the level of intelligence that Steve projects is something that we cannot take lightly. By the way, I wanted to test. I think we are having a. Yes. Now we can hook the phone directly into the. Let's see. Uh, what is that? Yeah. Call Reggie.
I didn't get that.
Let's see if
Could you
he's
try
gonna
again?
be available. Call Reggie.
Which one?
Okay, which one? I'm just
Calling
guessing
Reggie.
that that's the
Cole.
one. Hmm?
Hello?
Oh yeah, let's see if it works. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Hey, Reggie. Can you
Who's
hear me?
this?
It's Chaim.
Yes. Oh, hey. Happy Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah. I'm actually having you on the air. I'm doing the show now.
You guys, are you on a speakerphone? I can hardly hear you.
Oh, yes. Wait, hold on 1 second. Let's do it this way. 1 second. 1 second. Say something.
Something.
Okay, something is not working here. Let's make sure that that's. Okay, say it again.
Something.
Uh, yeah, I think we can hear you. Yeah, we can hear you.
Did you get the email I sent you?
I didn't get the chance to open it,
I
and
sent
but I
I
was
sent
just
two of them, in fact.
yeah. I'm about to open it today, but I'm here doing the show this morning, and now we can connect our phone directly to the system. And I said I'm going to give you a call and chat with you on the air. So people miss you. I've been stopped in the street and people saying, "What's up with Reggie? How come we don't see him with you on the show anymore?" And I said, "Because he became famous. He's like a celebrity. Doesn't want to talk to me
Yeah,
anymore."
yeah, I haven't run into. I don't know what's. I've been having car problems. I got dental problems, so I've been running around. Nothing exciting, nothing interesting. I have not gone in there to talk about it. A show. I feel bad about that, but
But you will. It's going to
this is
happen. It's just that maybe you should
this
say a
is the
few.
most crucial year in our history
Yes, maybe you should say a few
coming
things
up.
because people wanna hear your voice, and so I said I'm gonna have to get you on the phone on the air. That as a
I think right after the first of the year, Haim, I will do it.
yes.
Yeah, as soon as I come back from my sister's house,
Okay,
I'm
so you're
putting
going to
together
your
some
sister for
ideas.
Christmas?
I'm going upstate. Yeah,
No.
I didn't go up for Thanksgiving. I was invited by Judge Mukasey
Oh boy,
to have Thanksgiving dinner with them, so that's what I did.
that's great.
Yeah, I told my sister. I said, this is. I said, Judy, I know you want me to come up there, but it's a good time to show solidarity with our Hebrew friends.
Hebrew
And
friends.
she said, absolutely.
I love that. Hebrew friends. That's a good way of putting it. But listen, I missed you, and only now I realize we did at least a couple of hundred shows together, which is
I had no idea.
a mini library in itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, someday I'll have to start looking at some of them. So why don't I go on this week? I'm not.
Yes.
I'm not going away yet.
Good, good. So let's schedule tentatively to speak on Monday and schedule it.
Okay.
Okay. Well, good hearing your voice, and
How's your kids doing? Everybody's good.
yeah, everything's good. Really good. Really good. Can't complain.
This is. Isn't it amazing that they're demanding Israel? Oh, go slow on the retaliation. Are you give me a fucking break?
Go slowly,
They're lucky
retaliation.
you and I aren't in charge of the policy.
Oh my God. No,
Did you hear what? Do you know what the Egyptians did to them one time when they were pissed off at them? And the Israelis are being gentlemen about it. They didn't just put seawater in there. They emptied cisterns, cesspools, where the waste collected. They emptied that into their tunnels.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
insane. But yeah, listen, we'll get the chance to talk and chat and everything, and you get back to normal, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's do that.
So I'm glad we spoke, and as I said, we'll talk sometime Monday morning.
What number is this?
This is
Is
the
this your cell phone?
yes.
Because you're calling my home phone, you know.
Oh, is that what it is? Oh, I wasn't even aware.
That's all right. It's all right. I was just sitting here slurping coffee, trying not to get any on myself.
Yes. Oh boy. So Reggie, I'm sending you love. You know I love you very much, and
Same here.
and hopefully
give yourself a hug.
yes, and then this coming week we'll get together.
Okay.
And then we'll
You got
give
it.
them so much headache they will wish they wouldn't have mentioned you.
They'll wish they'll regret it. Yeah. All right.
Okay, take care. Have a good weekend. Okay. So, what did I want to say? Yeah. Um, so that was Reggie Cornelia, and that was just a pleasure to talk to him. Even though he can be very annoying, and he's always wants to speak politics. Even though I give him that much. When it comes to poetry, his passion is compatible with mine, and we do a lot of poetry and always reading poetry in the midst of discussing politics and always ending up the show with a poem. Uh, Something that not to be taken for granted, especially when it comes to believing that the pillars of your artistic attempt would lead you to a point where you see yourself and you say to yourself, I'm actually doing pretty good in terms of contributing to the effort of society to stabilize itself and to give itself more justifications and reasons and to survive and to survive decently. People can survive. It depends what quality of life we can offer ourselves, and also just like influence those that are um, communicate with us or try to communicate with us. That will always have something to give. That it will be undeniably effective and constructive and helping other people to. I I always say that. I mean, all my life I'm an artist, not a painter artist. A painter artist I'm in the last, I think, 26 years. So I lived quite a life before I ever, found myself with a brush in my hand and painting paintings on canvases and creating shows and whatnot and just concepts and titles and everything. But I always believed they came from the other mediums that I was involved in, such as writing and music, and always use that as my savings account. Use that as um, a stepping stone, a jumping board. Some kind of contents of comfort, where you would want to say to yourself, if I ever needed help, now I need it now. Which way do I go? What? So I think that I am where I am today, and mostly other than hard work and just being completely driven, uh, is um, that I really wanted to, technically speaking, survive on the stage that I wanted to become a part of, and specifically with people that already in the game for decades and all dedicated and great believers in the process and great believers in how much it has to offer to us. So I always emphasize to all of you out there, even in the most incoherent monologue I've ever had, there was always a spark of decency, i.e., logic and common sense, that out of this kind of fog, suddenly there is something that comes to your ear and enters your heart, and you say, wait a second, I just understood what he was saying. That's like very unusual. So I don't know if semi conclusions, but just tiny fractions of conclusions on the way to really conclude large processes, big processes, lengthy processes, that leads me at least to where it is that I need to go, where it is that I need to arrive, but a little faster than your average traveler, so to speak. So I then really in the process, I don't really need to pause or to stop to remind myself of what is it exactly that I'm doing, which is also another factor on how to save time and energy. We dump so much energy that we will never be able to replenish on the wrong things, the wrong thoughts, the wrong actions, and being the causes of it is that we end up in a situation where we're just like not benefiting for it, and in the same token also losing energy and certainly the type that you cannot just, as I said, replenish. But facing the situation as such that this engagement holds so much power within, and that you can, and again, me as an artist, and so many friends that I know that already creating for 4 decades, that's been around, showed their work and all this. There was always something about their uh, that which they shared with me as far as how they, what place they earn in the hearts of people. People come to their shows, and they're fascinated by the work. They're fascinated by the power behind the work. They're fascinated by the quantity of the work, and of course quality. But they're fascinated on so many levels. And so my friend shared with me that so these people become believers, become friends, become people who respect your work, and therefore respect you. People who think twice before they open their mouths, because they know they're in company of decency, of something rare. Because why? Because they attended, they experienced, they saw, they felt, they smelled, they heard, um, and they went home, and they stayed. They were left with something incredible, wonderful, that they don't forget. They just, it's always there. Now, along the years, people keep on going to exhibitions of people they know, people they don't know, but those whom they already saw their work in the past keep on being astonished, like new work, new processes, their understanding of what it takes, to what extent, as far as work and as far as hands-on motion forward, is not something that one can just wake up in the morning and say, oh, tra la la, la la la, and then it's gonna be okay. No, it's not gonna be okay unless you're really completely focused and clear and ready and whatnot, and rested. And because quickly enough you realize just goodwill on its own will not take you really where you need to go. Even though I still believe that, yeah, I mean, you can, if you approach anything, even that which is the most trivial, with that level of conviction, you will have something to work with, um, without any doubt. So, uh, so I began. So because my friends communicated with me and told me the kind of stories and experiences that they were going with people. So when my time came, when people approached me and said the same thing that I heard that my friends were describing, um, and it's like people were sharing, and then they always add, um, we we really appreciate that. So suddenly the word appreciate, it picks up a new meaning, a different rhythm, an exciting rhythm, an accommodating rhythm, and so much more. And then you realize that all these things that you feel and think is things that define who you are. It's about you, actually. I mean, in that case, it was me. It's about you, i.e., me, that they're talking about here. So I'm learning, I'm listening, I'm digesting, and I always give back, minus the hysteria, because the energy draining factor is all about like the hysteria of doing just about anything you can put your hands on at any given time, without sorting through and seeing what is effective, what is not, what is efficient, what is not, what works, what doesn't. Ask basic questions stands to help you um, to earn many understandings that will expedite the process for you, which is nothing wrong with that. Because I do have some friends who thinks that trying to expedite the process is something that is not at the end of the day work for you as much as you think it will. But I don't believe in it at all, because for me, as soon as the engagements begin, it works. Not only for me, it works, period. So people need to be also taught how to approach it in order to understand what really means working and what really means the opposite. And since You out there just like I am. We know ourselves. We know things about ourselves. So it's easy for us to judge if we're on the right direction, if we're doing what we need to do, as much as we need to do. We know all these factors. So therefore, when we get to this point, we feel secured because we feel all the questions will have the potential answers. All the wondering will have the willingness on behalf of people like me to engage and give information and share and be attentive and accommodating and actually showing it's all about good nature and whatnot. So when good nature and accommodations and goodwill are taking place at the same time between people, there's no aggression, there's no war. The battlefield is picks up a different meaning. The battlefield it picks up a different character, and suddenly it's just a battlefield of those who struggle to earn the title artists, to earn the title individuals who create art that in this capacity or that capacity, in this way or that way, people eventually will enjoy, will attend. Just on the behalf of the crowd out there, they make it their business to leave home or to take a note. Saturday gallery openings, this, that, every bit of it is huge in my eyes. Every bit of it is effective in how they're going to feel at the end of the day. Just as much as people like myself feel at the end of the day, that spells creations, new creations, something out of nothing. A pure desire, pure will for communication. And so much of it is giving so much indirectly. Most of it indirectly. So you're not really aware of every little tiny step and stage of it, but you're responsible for every little tiny step that we're under discussion and stage under discussion. Slowly but surely, you will end up realizing things about yourself that will help you control more that which stands ready for you to be used by you and to have at your disposal. So when you are in front of the canvas, when you are in front of the subject, you are pretty much completely ready. So if you haven't felt in your life moments where you're completely ready for whatever it is that you need to be ready for, then you don't know the power behind that level of profoundness and simplicity. And I say simplicity because it's so important to point out that a lot of people are deterred from doing certain things like write poetry and whatnot because it's just like they think it's too complicated. They think that it requires a level of seriousness that they don't possess. But now and then, some people will show up in their lives and give them a revelatory, I don't know if it's a word even, help them to realize that actually it's extremely doable because it just speaks in the name of that simplicity, and that they can point out the simplicity, they can describe to them, and they can make it available for them in the shape of being a tool, of course. So you want to believe that not only effortlessly but adamantly you are a contributor, and those whom will benefit from that contribution of yours instantly make it available for you to benefit from something before they would even have a fraction of an idea in place. It's it's uh, it's just that constant stage of motion forward of revelations. And I say revelations instead of saying discoveries or realizations, but discoveries and realizations is mostly ingredients that are a part of the revelation, because by saying revelations, I mean more enlightenments, and enlightenments is like leaves no doubt as far as what is it that I just felt? What is it that I just went through? What was it all about? And so you ask, in the midst of that question, the answer is start already taking over that vacant space of the of the motion forward of wondering and questioning leaves behind. So the answers are filling up all these gaps, all these kind of void and empty spaces, available spaces. Not always that I was so, whatever you want to call it, confusing and deep and profound and really going layers after layers, not fearing anything. I was not. For many, 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 many years, I knew too little to contemplate as much as I wanted to. I didn't, because when I started without having enough knowledge or experience, I managed. I thought it was healthy, but then I ended up spending so much time that today I would consider trivial, too much waste for my taste. I need that time. I mean, again, it can be something really good experience or experiences that I went through good, but just ending up doing one thing which is good, but ending up being so exhausted. Nowadays, this exhaustion, if I would ever feel it, which I do now and then, it's only because now I did not create one entity in order and then feel so exhausted. But I'm talking about, 30, 40 of them. and for me, there's always a number, if I want a solo exhibition in certain places, especially if I produce it and I put it in place, I need 30 paintings. 30 paintings minimum, sometimes 40. So there's a magic number. There's 30, 2 dozen, 3 dozens, and so now, if it all allow us to feel exhausted, because of course, that intense process, or that which is intense in this creative process, um, requires strength. And even if you're strong, you will feel that kind of humbling feeling where you're like down on your knees. I mean, it's just a form of expression, but down on your knees because you lose your knees. It's too much. But now, because you're expecting it, because you're aware of it, you're mastering it. So there's an understanding between the nature of the process itself and you as a human being, as a creative human being, that make it your business to become a part of it, to make something of it, to use it, to take it the directions that people will eventually be intrigued and influenced and inspired and affected, and so much more. In our society, we need to keep, especially if you're a parent, you have teenagers, you got to keep them busy. You got to keep them busy. You got to keep them busy, because just as much as so easily they can find themselves on the path to disasters and whatnot, or every parent's nightmare. In the same token, they can find themselves in the path of the obsession for creating art without them even being aware that actually what they're doing. You keep them busy, you keep them distracted, and then when they want to wake up, supposedly, or to realize supposedly that where are they, where they are is like they want an assessment of their location and all this. By then it's too late, because they already fell in love with the process. I know it sounds too good to be true, maybe because it is too good to be true, but it is true. Too good does not make it impossible. So it is true. And and if you happen to be an artist, and we're talking about your teenage boys and girls, then now you're talking. Now you have the right kind of power, because you bring from your own reservoir of experiences and hands-on sensations and knowledge accumulating, in order to approach your kids and say, guess what? We're going to keep you busy, so busy you wouldn't even know whether you're coming or going. And that's a good thing. And just as much as kids can use drugs and before you know it be addicts, and before you know it be in trouble, kids can become artists and become addicts for the process that spells creativity or an outlet to accept this eruptions of creativity, sense and sensations of creativity, to be guided to that destination where they need to go, and guarded and appreciated, and treasured. And at the end of the day, again, all of which what I'm saying now is something that benefits our society and human beings, people, all levels of communications become instantly open and available, and of course appealing, and of course available. When I say available, I say really available. You want that to be yours? Guess what? It's yours already as we speak. You express that desire, it becomes yours instantly. You don't have to slave for it, you don't have to toil for it. Now, so now what are you going to do? Because you take away their main excuses from the rest of the world that prefers to believe that they're better off not to. They're better off not to. Not a good idea. Maybe not. Just let it go. While behind it lays the concept that brings to the surface incredible amount of greatness in so many shapes and forms. And just as much as when it dawns on the artist himself or herself, these sudden realizations that make it like really enthusiastic to pick up and to continue and to deepen the level of conviction that you might have with that process, as a way of saying, I commit, I vow, I declare, I inform, I speak out loud, I say yes. I say yes as I speak out loud, saying yes. And you're part of it. And so to 20, 40, 70, 110 million people also. So many of them out there. So that's the beauty, that by now, even though it's not being utilized and felt, because not every person just thinks, oh yes, they deep down inside me, a big part of the qualities that make me who I am, who potentially I can be, is I'm an artist. I know, I can paint, I just don't know that I can, but I can. I can write poetry and prose and storytelling poetry and novels and books and whatnot. But I don't know that I can, or I'm not ready to engage in that process to try and find out. Why? Where is it going to come from? Who's going to provide these teenagers of ours, precious, the future of the generation of the future? Who's going to provide them with these are the right questions to ask. These are the right questions to ask. These are the right questions to ask, that when you find yourself asking it, that point will be just the right point for you, and you'll be getting answers. Why? Because the system itself will be compatible with your needs, because the system itself probably should have, would have, think about it ahead of time, because when you think about something so deeply and so thoroughly for the sake of the others, and you're so consistent and devoted, you will come up with the scenarios that you will be writing down and storing and shelving for the future. So when it happens, you can always pull it out of the shelf and see what course of action you suggested to yourself when you were contemplating this scenario, even when it comes to life, what we need to do. Fantastic way of looking at, like in the military. Take a few retired generals and put them inside a room on a weekly basis and let them contemplate. What if, what if, what if, what if? Give the answers of the experience and the knowledge that they possessed for so many years serving their countries, and also paying back their countries because they invested so much in them. So who's going to approach the kids, the new generation, and through thick and thin, and through all the cliche aspect of that one can imagine, try and penetrate and go right into their hearts, and of course appeal to their minds and say, "Listen, guys, this is fun. This is appealing. This is available. This is at your disposal, and this is important. This is all about communication. You possess, you possess that which." And whatever follows after you say that which, that which is, that which was speaking in that language of poetry and painting. Speaking of abstract, look at it. In the last 100 years, yeah, great artists, great movements. How many movements you have? Half a dozen movements all the way from realism to impressionism and abstractive impressionism and impressionistic abstract and then just that conservative mixed with modern. The future becomes the present, the past becomes the present, a million things, but it's all within a realm of very kind of short sight, like you say, okay, abstract expressionism 70 years ago, it was major. It's major today, but 70 years ago, it took a whole generation of giants to erect that concept and give it some justification, give it a place to thrive and to survive and to influence and to affect the world. And for the world to realize, well, this is not only beautiful, this is like $10 million. And then you don't want to think about it because $10 million is $10 million. But in your head, it says, well, someone paid $10 million for it, so I need to think about that. I cannot just proceed just like that. I need to think about it. So that means when you need to think about it, you pause. And that means when you pause, you have more time to actually ending up looking into who and what is it that forms you to be who you are in the process of trying to figure it out about the other. Then the other becomes you, and as figuring yourself becomes eventually figuring the other. It plays like this all the time, so it takes one realization for you to realize that this is what is actually happening. When you feel this way, and when that feeling is causing you to do this and that thing, and so you become to realize things for a fact, and accumulating these facts is like your treasure box. You never get caught in a situation where you don't have the answer or you don't quite know whether you traveled from north to south or from east to west. That won't happen. So you're more of a complete individual, that your system is there to be compatible, to give answers and to be ready to serve with you, not you, with you and therefore you, anywhere at any given time. So going back to the teenagers, who is going to approach them? So much so that when they'll see this individual, it will bring a smile to their faces. It will bring a smile that brings light to their faces. That's what it's going to be. That they will say, look at this person. Are we lucky and fortunate or what? Why? Because there are some people out there that can approach you and say, listen, I know a lot. And all I need is to give you a little bit. And then at the end, it will be a lot. Not only for you, but for all those that eventually will face you and listen to you, face you and observe your artwork and face you and read your poetry and your prose and whatever it is that you write. But the system, even as strong as it is now here in our country compared to the world, are you kidding me? America is, if you take all the faults of America and put in one basket, one match, one disastrous aspect of what's happening in Europe, forget about third world countries, but in America, yes, the ground is still durable and stable, and people are allowed to think and to do something about that which they think about, and to be deserved, and to carry the right to 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 end up where they are now, and before you know it, you turn your head and you turn it back, and where they're not any longer where you thought they were supposed to be, and they're coming back with a thicker message, with a more far-fetched message, and then you say, "Thank you, God." You know, I hear a guarantee for some kind of a salvation from a potential calamity that was taken as a given, especially when it comes to our teenagers. And actually, I cannot say that there was no hope and now hope. There is hope. I said that now there is an understanding about this hope. Not that there is hope. There is an understanding, an ability to understand what is the nature of that hope. What does it really mean? And as adults, as we want to teach our teenagers just a few tricks so they can survive, because we want them to survive. You don't want to think about how much of a genius in each one of them is, or they are. Yeah, probably they are all, but that's not what's under discussion, because that is something we take as a given. I take it as a given. When I look at teenagers, 12, 13, 14, 15, I take it for granted that each one of them is a genius. They carry capabilities, forget about it. I don't even know to what extent, but I know that it's major. So you don't even have to approach them to try and preach them and convince them, and hopefully hoping that they will find themselves in where you think is very important and effective and influential and good for the world, good for the country, good for planet Earth, good for everything. But you can achieve that just by making them aware there's always someone to talk to. There's always a way to turn your head and to see a figure that makes you feel safe. Always. And it can be as vague as possible. Forget about, we don't even need clarity for that. Just that vagueness of that knowledge is so efficient. You don't need more than that. The question is, if and when this young generation, teenagers of ours, will decide to engage, how ready are you going to be? Because we desire for them to desire and to start and to embark, but we don't take into consideration that if and when they decide to do that, we gotta be there for them, and we gotta get ready ourselves too. So sometimes we might forget to work on ourselves while we trying and hoping for the new young generation uh, to work and think and contemplate and increase their chances of not only survival but decent and simple and pleasurable and comfortable uh, survival. I mean, and kind of lose that dramatic aspect behind the connotations of that sound, uh, surviving the the potential calamity that is embedded within the attempts to just go through a day, a 24-hour in this world, nevertheless saying 60, 80, 90, 100 years. But one thing I can agree with myself as far as the our society is not compatible. It's not maybe they think about these things, but they're not compatible with the idea that it's imperative to put in place a system that will look at every teenager, not only those that are strange or different or very smart or very stupid, very safe and very dangerous or whatever, reckless, but everybody. They, they're all under the same blanket of thoughtfulness and care and concern. You're doing for all of them. You do for all of them. You do for all of them without any exception. And what that means on the surface is that you need to give out of yourself suddenly, because you see that there's a tendency to agree with you. And then you realize that you're not so ready, even though the level of conviction of how you want to transfer that feeling and to instill it in the hearts of the young generation is something that must take place also while it's imperative for you to work on yourself, because just in case that your words are going to be received out there in the way that they want them to be received, then you might be in trouble if you're not ready. And most probably you're not ready, because there's always a level of too good to be true that will make you become a little too more complacent than you would like to be, or you would like to think that you are. So it really is a small price to pay in order to create order in the priority of how do we really think a little bit outside the box. No, not the dramatic, crazy aspect of let's think outside the no. Let's think outside the box. It's a good way of looking at it. It's a good way of starting or restarting with it now and then. Um, but there's no crash course or a movement that is needed in order to save the day, and and to say, so to speak, this is the way it needs to be done, and if it cannot done this way, it cannot done. Period at all. Well, that's a mistake. Obviously, I think that it's just like can come from all directions at any given time, a he or a she or a they. It's just like unconditionally available, so long as you want to offer your time and your energy for the process and say, okay, I'm a candidate, I'm a participant, and obviously I'm ready. I don't need to say that. My actions speak for my intentions. And my intentions now is to check. I need my glasses. Maybe I should mention that we are here on Friday morning, December 8th, year 2023, here with the Hello Hello show. My name is Haim Mizrahi, and also take the advantage to tell you about the ongoing art show that we have here. And we just to remind you, we have a monthly art group shows here for the last 26 years. And I've been very privileged to curate it most of these years. And as we speak, we have Josh Dayton showing his fantastic collages and paintings. Steve Lotion, a fantastic artist, also a good friend, a mentor, and your humble servant, myself, feeling um, enthusiastic and excited to show our work here. So we're planning an opening in January 6th, year 2024. That's a Saturday. And in the meantime, Monday through Friday, you can always show up here at LTV 9 to 5 and check the show. And also while you're doing and while you're at it, you can ask for information about what public access here in Wainscott, East End of Long Island, stands for. So you will definitely get answers from knowledgeable people. Let me see. Good. So we got just a few more here, and if I'm speaking so much of let's see. We can call.
Hello?
Yes, Steve, you're on the air. I have 10 more minutes, so I said I'll give you a call. I'm almost done here. So, what's your language? You hear me?
I'll be very polite. Always for your show, we're always polite. Hello, everybody.
Yes, except when you're not. We should
Well,
be as polite.
there has to be a balance in nature between everything.
Yeah, that's
politeness, not politeness.
Yes, and actually, I'm contemplating on certain aspects of what we were discussing yesterday. So so I got some material to play with this morning and to share with the public out there. So I said I'll give you a call. So this is
Well,
Steve
if
Ram
it's
on
going
the
to be,
phone.
hi everybody. It is Steve Ram on the phone, much to my own surprise, and I'm getting to do Haim's show on a regular basis. I think he's grooming me to take over.
Yes.
So I think he's grown since 19. I think he started in 1916, maybe under the Hoover administration, and has continued ever on. So if you talk about dedication, this is
Undisturbed.
true dedication.
Undisturbed.
Grover Cleveland, he knew personally. There were McKinley. He loved McKinley, and there are other presidents that he's gotten along with that he hasn't gotten along with. He liked Roosevelt. He didn't like his wife, but
yes. Yes, but then we ended up becoming great friends, though. You have to add that.
Absolutely. And yesterday, on December 7th, he was the only person that wasn't surprised about the Japanese attack. And Homeland Security has been questioning about that for years.
For years, 40 years. And they
Right.
still didn't get to the bottom of it.
They're looking, I think they're close to getting an answer.
Close, yes, exactly.
It's all that sushi that you eat that just led them in the right direction.
What about Adams? You excluding Adams?
Well, we know that you were involved in that. They just edited you out of the movie.
Yes. Yeah. That's they want to protect me, so that it works.
They want to protect you, and mostly they want to protect the country.
So,
I mean, if the word got out that you and Oppenheimer used to have go to Katz's all the time to have a hot pastrami sandwich,
I know.
If that got out, and you were trading nuclear secrets back and forth, and also investigating how Katz's could make a sandwich so thick.
That's before the knowledge formed about nuclear. We were contemplating about.
There was a rumor that Katz's was using nuclear energy to make their sandwiches.
No, we were talking about the plastic. What do you call it? Explosives.
Right. That was in the barrel of pickles outside.
Yes. Yes. And then you wonder how come I'm your friend. You got the answer.
I've been a secret agent all my life, so it hasn't really been friendship. I've had to do this.
Yeah, exactly. And you know why you're still alive is because I grew to like you very much. So I told them the condition for me to continue is not to hurt, is by they're promising me not to harm you,
not to hurt me, and to give me a little secret every once in a while that just keeps them happy enough that they let us both keep going.
Well, those mysterious envelopes of cash that you've been receiving the last 25 years, right. Now you know where they're from.
And the fact that both of us have paintings that glow at night.
Yeah.
Has something to do with nuclear power.
Oh my God! So
yeah. How are you doing today? How are all your people out there that are listening to this program today and tonight? We'll be on air tonight, on airtime tonight.
Yeah, and I'm. I was talking about how the system is incompatible when it comes to teenagers. There's no guiding voice. There's no something compatible with that which you can put in place. So the new generation, the teenage hood, with there's so much potential for destruction and bad things that can happen, will be so distracted and so full of options and possibilities to create that by the time they realize that they're not engaged in something bad, and it's too late to start thinking about it because they're just too busy.
Right.
The system is completely.
There are too many things.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So it's just it would be a no-brainer, So by the time they realize that it could have been different, meaning that they could have been you doing drugs and being out of control and become addicts, now they're they can't do without the brush that helps them paint their paintings and the pen that helps them, write the poems.
I think that I think the sense of creativity and where is alien to the newer the 20-year-olds and the 30-year-olds our especially when you get to my age, you speak to people and you talk about things that happened when I was 16 or 17, and they look at you and their eyes glaze over, and you talk about things that you did, and not only do they not have any interest, it doesn't relate to them at all, and I totally understand that any more than I'm really interested in what they're doing because it's so alien to our lifestyle and the background that we have. So it different generations have different objectives and goals and objections and goals. And it's sometimes very hard to cross that barrier. I mean, I remember talking to my father about things, and it just seemed that he came from another planet at times. So I think it's important that all these meetings that take place. You've got AA meetings and meetings for this and meetings for that, and everybody's trying to do this and everybody's trying to do that. It'd be nice if there was some meetings once in a while between uh, whatever whether it's millennials. I forget what the term is, but if you had younger people, 20, 30, maybe even 40, sitting down and talking to people who are in their late 70s, 80s, and even 90s, crossing that history barrier so that there are things that we can leave
Yeah.
behind that are really important.
Yeah, I hate to prematurely stop you. I got 3 more minutes here to conclude, but maybe we'll pick this
We'll pick it up
discussion,
the next time
yeah, next time and end up talking about nothing that we
about
have
something
planned to
totally
talk.
different.
Yes, exactly.
Right,
But at the end of the day, it's all carries that message of the importance of creativity and how much it adds to a society, to the sturdiness, the stability, the stamina of a people, and
right,
and then you when you experience that joy of communication and joy of experiencing art, observing and all that, there's no room for aggression. It won't come to the surface. The system, once it's soaked with that, is guaranteeing us sobriety. But anyway, let me
right.
just say, as before I'm going to say close the show. Are we meeting in? Let me call you back in 2 minutes when I'm done with the show, and then we can meet where we said we're
Okay,
going to meet.
fine. I'll
Uh,
wait for your call.
so, because I'm out of here in 5 minutes, so prepare yourself, okay?
I'm ready to go.
Okay, thank you. That was Steve Ram with us. So we're going to be here tomorrow as much as
Thank
we were
you.
here
Bye bye.
yesterday. Bye bye. And as much as we're here this morning of September 8th, Friday morning, September 8th, year 2023, here with the Hello Hello Show. And my name is Haim Mizrahi. With the pleasure to share my time with you and my gratitude and the wonderful feelings that I feel about all of you out there. Keep up the good spirits, and we know that you have a lot to do with what's happening here with this station and with our community because it takes a hands-on attitude by wonderful people like you out there. Take care and take good care of yourselves.